got in there. I mean, she made it happen.
And he doesn't shy away from opinion.
And I do enjoy drinking cold beer at ballparks. So if that makes me a baseball fan, then I'm a diehard baseball fan.
It's Hacker After Dark on 1010XL.
And a very good Monday evening to you, Jacksonville. Glad to be back with you. Hacker After Dark, 1010XL, 92.5 FM with Dylan Denmark. The Hacker Ryan Green with you as we are back from a vacation, really the last vacation of the year, right? I think I got one day off in August, and that's pretty much it. Up until Christmas, up until football season, and it's here. Wednesday morning, we are 36 hours away from training camp at the Miller Electric Center in downtown Jacksonville. So we will certainly spend a lot of time on Jaguar training camp. We're going to look at the offensive side of the ball tonight. We're going to look at the defensive side of the ball tomorrow in anticipation of training camp opening up on Wednesday morning. Got my email from the Jaguar PR department. They do such a great job in helping us schedule those interviews, the one-on-ones. And I know on Wednesday I'll be talking with new Jaguar center Robert Hainsey. Will be the first one I'll have on Hacker After Dark for this training camp. Jack Kaiser later in the week, Tank Bigsby, Brenton Strange, Ventrell Miller. We got a lot of them lined up for you, and we'll play those for you as the practices roll in. Again, beginning Wednesday morning. I know Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday this week, I believe, are all open to the public. Go to Jaguars.com and see if there's any tickets left. I can imagine most of those have gone pretty quick. There is a lot of excitement in this city for training camp, and it's a far cry from where we were when the season ended back on January the 5th up in Indianapolis, losing to the Colts. If you think about where the Jaguar organization was, where you, the fans, were mentally on January the 5th compared to where we are now here on July 21st, some 6.5 months later, a ton has transpired. And we will see soon enough if that bears out more wins than losses once the regular season arrives. By the way, where are we at? 48, I believe. 48 days away from the Jaguar opener against the Carolina Panthers there on the first Sunday in September. Guest lineup tonight looks like this. Ryan Fowler, NFL analyst and college football analyst. Ryan's also been one of my draft guys for years. He will join us to give us his thoughts on Jaguar training camp. We'll look around the division as well. Also, Tyler Brook. Tyler's a guy that's been with numerous outlets, the 33rd Team, Bleacher Report. He's now starting his own thing called Best Available, and we're going to tell you all about that. Tyler's actually based up in Indianapolis, so we're going to talk with Tyler not only about the Jaguars, we're going to look at the Colts and the rest of the AFC as well. So Ryan Fowler and Tyler Brook both coming up here in the first hour plus tonight on Hacker After Dark. I will say vacation was fun. It was a good time. And I used to be that guy that, and for those of you that have listened to me for a while, man, I'd be doing the countdown, right? 87 days till training camp or 72 days till training camp. I've grown out of that. I enjoy May, June, and most of July for what it is. And what it is for people in our business is it's getaway season. I mean, let's be honest. Now we're kind of in it, right? When training camp gets here, maybe a day here and a day there, but by and large, for the next 4 to 5 months minimum, we're kind of in it. But I enjoyed vacation, and I did think that was a cool story. You know, 36 years ago, I was down at the Magic Kingdom with my parents. Wanted to go on Space Mountain. Couldn't wait to go on Space Mountain. Met the height requirement on the outside for Space Mountain, and they let me in all the way down the line. Waited 40 minutes to get right there to the front of the ride. Had to do a second height requirement. Didn't make that one for some reason. And my poor father had to carry out a screaming 5-year-old. I was saying everything under the sun about Mickey Mouse and Donald Duck in Walt Disney World. Man, I was ticked. And talk about coming full circle. 36 years after that, in literally the same building, Space Mountain hasn't moved. It's been there the entire time. I am now the father. I have my 6-year-old. He just barely met the height requirement outside. I knew they were going to measure him again like they did me. And I'm sitting here thinking, could history repeat itself? Could lightning strike twice in my family, 36 years apart? Am I going to have to carry a screaming 6-year-old out of this place in front of everybody if he doesn't meet the height requirement? Just like my dad had to do to me 3.5 decades prior. He made it. He got on by a centimeter. They went to the index card. They're serious about that height stuff, and good. It's safety, right? I have no problem with that. But Forrest made it, got to ride Space Mountain. A catastrophe of Disney epic proportions was averted. And it was a full circle moment for me because unlike 36 years ago, when my dad had to carry a screaming out hacker, I did not have to carry out a screaming little hacker. And it was probably the highlight of the trip. That and Denmark, you would have been proud of me. I know you're a West Side guy, so you're probably more the outdoorsman than I am. I don't know if you know this, but I'm not exactly an outdoorsman, although I do enjoy listening to Kevin and Jeff and Kirk and those fellas on Saturday morning. And they would have been proud of me as well, because I went fishing for the first time in like 20 years.
What kind of fishing?
Disney charter fishing.
Okay.
So
all right.
Take that for what it is. We had a captain who kind of knew where all the holes were. I caught something called a bluegill. I don't know if you know what that is, but I caught a bluegill.
I know what it is.
I caught a bass.
How big?
I got a picture of it here. I thought it was big. You know, it was the first thing
2 or 3 pounds?
Yeah, probably.
All right.
Probably something like that. But more importantly, Denmark, I held the bass with my own hand.
I saw that.
And I actually gave the bass a kiss. I guess you were supposed to do that, so they told me. So I did that for a photo op. First time, again, I'd caught a fish in 25 years. I felt a little more manly getting off that boat, Denmark, than I did getting on, knowing that, you know, if times are tough, maybe I can hire a Disney fishing captain and he can go out and charter me a boat, and he knows exactly where all the fish are. He did bait my hook for me. I'm not going to lie to you. He did do that. I wasn't touching the live bait. That was unbelievable. But that live bait worked, brother, because I caught like 4 fish, including a couple of bluegills, a couple of bass. The highlight, though, of course, Forrest had the biggest fish of the day. We had to help him reel it in. It took the net to bring it up. The captain said the bass probably weighed about 5.5 or 6 pounds.
Dang.
From what I've been told, that's a pretty big bass.
Yeah, anything like above 3.5, 4 is pretty big. I mean, you could probably, I'm assuming you could fit your fist in his mouth.
I didn't try, but now you think of it, I probably
like
could
a big
have.
mouth bass, you can tell.
Yeah, I mean, he couldn't reel it in. We were having trouble reeling it in, so we had to get the net. But yeah, there's a picture of Forrest with it. It was quite the moment, no doubt about that. It's always quite the moment here on Hacker After Dark when every night we do kick it off with a big deal of the night and the aforementioned Dylan Denmark. Let's do that right now.
Time now for the big deal of the night.
What's the big deal? What is the big deal?
No, because it is a big deal.
On Hacker After Dark.
Now, the big deal of the night is going to be short, sweet, and to the point. January 5th of this year, 2025, fans, media, we were all in it together. We were done. Last season sucked. It was awful. Injuries, just things going on in the organization. The promise of back-to-back 9 and 8 seasons morphing into a 4 and 13 disaster. And that was the last time that a lot of you, the fans, saw the Jacksonville Jaguars. It was January 5th, losing to the Indianapolis Colts. Now here we are 6.5 months later. Veterans report to camp on Tuesday. Practices begin Wednesday morning at the Miller Electric Center. Training camp 2025. Brand new head coach. Majority of a brand new staff. Brand new general manager. Brand new EVP of football operations. dozens of new players. Mix in a Heisman Trophy winner with the second overall pick. And the excitement in this city is there, man. I don't know, honestly, if I've ever felt a team, and we've had plenty of chances here in Jacksonville because there's been plenty of awful seasons, how much excitement there is about this team that lost 13 of their last 17 games last season. And in fact, if you want to go back even deeper than that, losing, 5 out of 6 to end 2023, you're talking about, 5 and 18 in the last 23 games that this team has played? 5 and 18. And yet the excitement in this city is off the charts. And it's off the charts for Travis Hunter. It's off the charts for Brian Thomas Jr., what we hope Trevor Lawrence could become with Liam Cohen, what James Gladstone and his intangibly rich ecosystem have brought this team and this fan base. Will it come to fruition with wins come September and October? Yet to be seen. But for a team that has lost 18 of their last 23 games, you, the fans, heck, even we in the media, we're excited again to see what this team could present. And that is a far, far cry from where we've been a majority of the last 18 to 24 months. Ryan Fowler, NFL analyst. He's covered the draft for years, covers the world of college football, but primarily he's an NFL guy. We've had him on a bunch over the years. Let's talk to Ryan about the young Jaguars, including Travis Hunter, including Ransaw and Milam and some of the rookie class. Let's look at the overall roster. Let's preview camp, and let's look around the AFC South a little bit as well. Ryan Fowler joins me next right here. Glad to be back with you on a Monday. It's Hacker After Dark.
This is 1010XL.
Go Gators. Go Gators. Go Gators.
Your Gator Nation radio station. Go Gators.
If you are an experienced electrician looking for your next big opportunity, look no further than the Miller Electric Company, a trusted name in the industry for over 96 years. At Miller Electric, we tackle the biggest projects in the city, offering you the chance to showcase your skills on a grand scale. We believe in rewarding hard work with the best pay, top-notch benefits, and an unbeatable culture where people actually care about each other. Take your career to new heights with Miller Electric Company. Apply today at millercareers.com. Miller Electric, an equal opportunity employer.
You wouldn't drive your car 50,000 miles without an oil change. So why are you ignoring your septic tank? That thing's working around the clock, taking every flush, shower, and mystery casserole down the line. Eventually, it fills up. And when it does, you do not want to find out the hard way. Don't wait for the stink. Septic tanks need to be pumped every 3 to 5 years. Call 904-862-6769 to schedule your septic pump out with the pros at Duck Duck Rooter. When you're stuck, call the Duck.
Oh, no.
Ah, that's the sound of someone who's misplaced
My debit card.
their debit card.
Where'd I leave that thing?
Not at the gas pump, or the checkout counter, or the roof of your car. Now, if he has the Chase mobile app, he can use Card Lock.
Wait, I could just lock my card.
Yep, just a few tippy taps on his phone, and that sound? That's peace of mind from Chase.
Chase mobile app is available for select mobile devices. Message and data rates may apply. JP Morgan Chase Bank N.A., member FDIC.
Are you living with diabetic neuropathy? That pain and numbness in your hands or feet? What about chronic knee or shoulder pain? Maybe you've tried various treatments, but they've been ineffective. Now there's a solution. Dr. Ferdinand Formoso specializes in advanced pain management and offers breakthrough neuromodulation treatments for those conditions. His innovative treatments target the source of your pain, offering relief where medications may fall short. All procedures are performed outpatient with no hospitalization required. Just a chance for you to feel and live better. If you want to learn more, Dr. Formoso is hosting free informational classes where he'll explain the benefits of neuromodulation therapies and how they can help eliminate your pain. Spaces are limited, so call to reserve your spot now with offices on the South Side, West Side, and Jacksonville Beach. Relief is possible with Formoso spine and joint pain specialists.
get closer to nature.
Trying to get close to these bucks out here.
Jeff Lageman, Captain Kevin Favor, and Captain Kirk Waltz. The Nimnicht Outdoor Show, presented by Duck Duck Rooter Plumbing, Septic and Air Conditioning. Saturday morning, 7 to 10 on 1010XL.
Jax is more than a city, beaches, suburbs, or a destination. We're a community that takes care of each other. I'm former Jaguar Tom McManus. J-Dog Junk Removal and Hauling is dedicated to serving you with respect and integrity. From estate cleanouts to furniture and appliance removal, we handle it all. Call 506-1256 for your free estimate today. We're here for you. We're veteran-owned and operated. J-Dog Junk Removal and Hauling.
Lauren Brooks here from Helmets and Heels. Circa Resort and Casino has 2 epic pro football contests, Circa Million and Circa Survivor. Circa Million, pick 5 games weekly against the spread for $1 million grand prize. Circa Survivor, 1 pick a week, no spread. Last one standing wins $15 million. Enter at any Circa in Nevada, play anywhere. Sign up for either and get 50% off a 2-night stay. Helmets and Heels will be live from Circa in Vegas on August 22nd. Full contest details at circasports.com and the 1010XL homepage.
60 days from now, you'll be one of these 2 guys. The first guy, sluggish, foggy, and feeling like he just can't keep up like he used to. The second guy, driven, strong, and confident. Why? MailXcel's breakthrough microdosing protocol, a daily low-dose testosterone. You don't have to be the first guy anymore. Be the second guy. Take the same steps he took. Try MailXcel.com. 100,000 men chose wisely. Your move.
Mike Dempsey, and now's the time to get your roof hurricane ready with Apex Roofing and Contracting of Jax Beach. Look, our rainy season is no joke, and if your roof's got damage, leaks, or it's just plain worn out, don't wait. Apex is local, dependable, and will show up on time using only premium materials with ironclad warranties. No shortcuts, no stress, just quality work you can trust. Skip the storm season scramble. Reach for the peak with Apex Roofing and Contracting in Jax Beach or visit apexroofingfl.com.
Lucas Tree Service is a certified arborist and a local family-owned business with over 45 years of experience. They specialize in tree removal, trimming, and stump grinding for both residential and commercial properties. Get prepared for storm season and receive top-notch customer service from Lucas Tree Service, 904-241-3533. Online at lucastreeservice.com.
With Lee and Kate's Glass, you're gonna see a big difference. For 100 years, service you can trust. Lee and Kate's Glass, depend on us. Glass solutions to meet your needs. Reliable quality guaranteed. Complete customer satisfaction. With Lee and Kate's Glass, you're gonna see a big difference.
1010XL is presented by Farah and Farah, exclusive injury law firm of the Jacksonville Jaguars. Protecting you and your family. Call 396-5555. Jacksonville. Now, another great guest on the Checkmate Coatings phone line. Hello. Your floor's missing piece.
Back here on 1010XL and 92.5 FM in the city of Jacksonville. We are glad you are with us as we are on the doorstep of training camp. Boy, that got here really, really quick as the Jaguars will be out on the practice field at the Miller Electric Center beginning on Wednesday morning. Let's talk Jaguars. Let's talk AFC South and all points in between with my buddy Ryan Fowler. He's covered both the NFL and college football for many, many years, and Ryan's certainly been one of our go-to guys here on 1010XL. Ryan, I trust your summer's going well, man. How are you?
I'm doing well, Ryan. Always appreciate having me on, man. It's summer's been great, but it's time for football. Excited for it.
Yeah, there's no doubt. My last long vacation ended last week, so I'm back and ready to go. And so are the Jaguars. On Wednesday morning, they will begin training camp. And Ryan, what was the wildest, craziest offseason that I can remember in 20-plus years of doing this now enters training camp? Your thoughts on the Jacksonville Jaguars and what they've done over the last 6 months?
Yeah, absolutely. First things first, Ryan, I think one thing that we've talked about even on here is just what the approach has been from James Gladstone as far as just looking at this roster and adding guys. Of course, the quote that's been going around is the intangibly rich players. And I think now where you're working into training camp and where you've spent so many weeks, so many months of trying to build this thing up, now it's about strapping up. It's about competing. It's about executing now with Liam Cohen at the helm. So now it's about seeing guys like Travis Hunter and guys like Wyatt Milam. I'm extremely excited in the preseason and in practices to see guys like Bashal Tootin, LaQuinn Allen, as far as boosting this running back core. Younger pieces on the defensive side of the ball like Caleb Ransall. What's he going to be as a guy that some people thought he was overdrafted coming out of Tulane in the third round? So looking at this thing overall for the Jaguars, obviously it's been many years where the expectations have been high. They've been low. Obviously, the last few years haven't been great in Jacksonville, but you have this superstar, young player now, a potential quote-unquote generational player potentially on either side of the ball, and Travis Hunter. It's great always talking about him. Winning the Heisman's fun, but now putting on that Jacksonville helmet, what is he exactly going to be when games actually count? And overall, what's this team really going to look like from an execution standpoint, not just looking at an Excel spreadsheet or depth chart saying, we can do this, we can do this. How are you going to compete when you line up on Sundays?
Yeah, I think it's going to be fascinating now that we finally get a look at Travis Hunter in full pads in about a week's time. You mentioned preseason right around the corner as well. Ryan, I know you studied Travis Hunter extensively when the draft was back there in late April. If it were you, wide receiver, defensive back, how would you, percentage on both sides of the ball? How would you use Travis Hunter if you were the Jaguars?
Yeah, it's such a good question, Ryan. I think me right now, I would put him at receiver. I just think his ability, he was my number one receiver and number one corner in this past year's draft. That's just something I've never had as far as in the years that I've done scouting. I don't know if I ever will, honestly, in the future. But he's just such a unique playmaker as far as the ball in the air, ability to win at all three levels, expand this offense, take eyes, bottom line, off of Brian Thomas Jr., expand this defenses horizontally and vertically. But I will say, Ryan, it's going to be really hard, if the Jacksonville Jaguars are on defense and you're looking outside and you see Jerrion Jones and you see Tyson Campbell, Monteric Brown, the other guys in that building, and those guys are getting burned and you're sitting there in number 12s right next to you, and you have that type of corner there in your back pocket. So as of right now, bottom line, I would put him at receiver first, but I do expect him to get a lot of snaps at corner.
NFL and college football analyst Ryan Fowler with us here on 1010XL in Jacksonville as the Jaguars get ready to open up training camp on Wednesday morning. Ryan, usually this time of year, I got the roster pretty much nailed down, all 90 guys. But man alive, I'm happy the PR staff gives us that roster sheet this year, because I think of the 90 guys that are going to be here on Wednesday morning, I think roughly 50 to 55 of them were not even here in January when the season ended. Obviously, Travis Hunter, that's the big story. But training camp every year is about cohesiveness, right? It's about building team chemistry. That's never more true this year with the amount of new guys that James Gladstone and Liam Cohen have brought in here.
Absolutely, and I love it. I love it. Look, it's not about coming into an NFL roster where you see it a lot of organizations around football, Ryan, that just continually live in that below relevancy. It's just coming in and stealing a paycheck. Are you going to come in, you're going to compete or not? And if you're not, then you're going to get out of the building. Because I think when you look at the additions they made as far as bringing in vets and free agency, you look at Eric Murray, you look at Jordan Lewis specifically on the offensive side of the ball. But when I look at this defense really as a whole too, and guys, for me personally, Ryan, I want to see step up. It's the linebacker room. Devin Lloyd, Chad Muma. I need to see more from both those guys in the middle of this defense, because you had a guy like Jack Kaiser, who I really, really like from Notre Dame. He's not the most intangibly rich player ever, but he's a guy that, bottom line, understands how to play the position and will do everything for you and more. And that's a guy that can outplay players above them on a depth chart. And a reason why earlier, Ryan, that I mentioned the two backs in Tootin and LaQuinn Allen, that I really liked both in this process as far as someone that really heavily scouted the ACC among the other conferences in college football. So I just like how James Gladstone's really built this roster to where, yes, we're not expecting to make a Super Bowl this year. If it happens, great. That's the goal of every team, to lift the Lombardi Trophy. They don't come in every year saying, hey, we want to win 4 games and try to have some fun this year. That's not the goal of an NFL organization. But you're looking at this thing and how they built it. I really like the young players they have, the core players that are established specifically on offense, and how they're also going to continue to give guys opportunities like a Muma, like a Lloyd, and even on offense with a guy like Brenton Strange that they expect to take a step.
Yeah, you mentioned Muma and Lloyd. Big year for both of those guys, as both are scheduled to become free agents at the end of the 2025 season. Ryan, your thoughts on Trevor Lawrence? Obviously, he has not been dealt a great hand. If you go back to his final year at Clemson, this is head coach number 4 in a 6-year stretch. It's his 3rd straight year with a different center. All right, there have been problems. All right, and Trevor Lawrence won't make excuses. I'm making them for him. But having said that, he's going to be 26 in October. The time is now, right, for Trevor Lawrence?
Absolutely. And I think bringing Liam Cohen's going to help. Bottom line, Ryan. I am a supporter of Trevor Lawrence. I think he's immensely talented. I think he's got everything that you want as far as in between the years as a quarterback that can lead you to a Super Bowl. Bottom line, I know there's some people out there that probably think I'm crazy saying that because of the ups and downs we've seen from Trevor. But bottom line, I think he's someone that you can win with right now. I think you can win with in the future. I think when you continue to boost the offensive line that they tried to do, you add in a guy like De'Ami Brown coming in from Washington to be that wide receiver 3, wide receiver 4 for this offense. I mentioned Brenton Strange. They're going to have a better ground game. And again, as I mentioned, moving into the next 2 years, look, you're going to continue to build this roster. Whether it's not perfect this year, I do think Trevor is the guy, bottom line, moving forward. I don't look at a guy like Nick Mullins as someone's going to compete with him in camp. That's obviously not happening. But I am a supporter of Trevor Lawrence. I know it wasn't pretty specifically last year, but I think he's someone that's going to stay healthy this year. And I think we're going to see a team like the Jacksonville Jaguars compete in this AFC South with the teams like the Texans at the top, potentially compete for a playoff spot, this year.
A couple of more for Ryan Fowler, NFL and college football analyst with us here on 1010XL in Jacksonville. Ryan, you've covered the draft in the league for a long time. You can have the best quarterback, the best wide receivers, the best running back on planet Earth. None of it matters without an offensive line. And Jacksonville went out and added 6 guys. 4 in pro free agency, 2 in the draft. You mentioned Wyatt Milam. You go with Robert Hainsey and Patrick McCarry, Fred Johnson, Chuma Edoga, Jonah Monheim. And look, I still think Walker Little and Anton Harrison are probably the 2 starting tackles. I would be surprised if they weren't, I guess. I wouldn't be shocked, but I'd be surprised. Ezra Cleveland will still be in the fold. But there's no doubt that this offensive line is completely revamped from where it was a year ago.
It is, and you're exactly right. I mean, look at the Chiefs, right? The last Super Bowls that they've lost is because the offensive line unable to hold up, whether it was against Tampa or against the Philadelphia Eagles. So I think when you look up front, you're nothing on an offense unless you got the big boys up front blocking for you. And that's not, now I'm not asking everybody to be the Detroit Lions, the Philadelphia Eagles up front, or even the Cleveland Browns or Dallas Cowboys of old when Tyron Smith was out at left tackle. Not asking them to do that. But if you can keep Trevor Lawrence upright and not facing the sky on his backside, but looking up at where that Mike linebacker is and where those safeties are doing post-snap, you're going to have a good chance because you got guys on the outside that can compete. I don't need to sit here and talk about what Brian Thomas Jr. can be or what this ground game is expected to be as far as better in 2025. But I really do like Ezra Cleveland still. I like the addition of Robert Hainsey and Patrick McCarry, 2 physical players, wide-bodied players that want to live in that vertical plane along the front 5. And then Wyatt Milam. I mean, goodness gracious, watching him at West Virginia, he can play tackle. He could slide into guard if he had to because he plays with excellent depth in his lower half. He's got really good hands. He's going to be someone that can really do it all for you. And it really goes back to my point earlier, Ryan, in that, look, he's just going to come in and compete. Wherever you need him, if you need him to be that swing tackle, which is a huge position in today's NFL, he can do that as well. And then also you still got Luke Fortner there who, look, I know that it's up and down with Luke Fortner. He may not even be here in a couple of weeks' time. But overall, you still have some young players that are still trying to compete and have a roster spot and ultimately stay employed in the NFL today, where obviously NFL means not for long, Ryan.
I still think it's crazy that Patrick McCarry, one of the craziest stats in the league, that he's played 250 snaps or more at all 5 offensive line positions. That is just wild to think about. So you talk about versatility. McCarry certainly has that. Ryan, as we quickly go to the defensive side of the ball, look, Trayvon Walker and Joshua Hines-Allen are good players. They've had no help getting to the quarterback outside of those 2 for the last 2 years. You bring in Emmanuel Ogbah. You draft Jalen McLeod. Miles Cole is in year 2. You go get DeJuan Smoot. You go get Gardeck from Arizona, who is starting on the PUP list because he had an ACL in October but could come off of it anytime. And I think one of the biggest moves is moving Eric Armstead back to his natural position. That nonsense they did last year was ridiculous. And you got Mason Smith coming into year 2. What do you make of the Jaguars front on the defensive line?
Yeah, Ryan, you mentioned it with Mason Smith and even Jordan Jefferson. I like both those guys coming out of the same program, right, in LSU last year. I like those guys a lot. And I think both of those players are going to need to take a step. You know, we look at the edge players all the time, specifically with Jacksonville, with Trayvon and Josh, as you mentioned, as far as those are the leaders as far as what you're going to get on pass rush downs. But I think if you can start to create within the interior, because every single goal of every front five, doesn't matter what level of football, everybody wants to get doubled at the end of the day. But when you have to single up and you got to block guys and you got to keep tight ends in and you got to keep running backs in, that takes matchups away and more skill players out from the perimeter. And now you're reducing that formation. So if you can get Mason and Jordan to both take a step, Eric Armstead plays naturally, like you mentioned, now at 1 and 3 tech, or even some 4-eye if you want to be versatile up front. And then you have Trayvon Walker and have Josh Hines-Allen that have that really all-pro type of potential, and you spent the capital and paid the capital to have them there for that reason. I like this front seven. We talked about the backers, but they're really the guys up front. Veteran like DeJuan Smoot, I think, can play up and down. Ben in Jacksonville a little bit. I do like this front core, but I want to see more from the interior because we always talk about the edge players. But if you can win the middle on early downs and pass rush downs, you start to cook with fire a little bit.
Final moments with Ryan Fowler. Ryan, let's look around the division in the time we have left. How good will Cam Ward be this year in Nashville?
Yeah, you look at Cam Ward, and it's obviously, number 1 overall pick. Obviously, Will Levis is going to miss the season with shoulder surgery. From what I've heard, I don't know if that's even public yet, to be honest, Ryan. But when you look at this thing with Cam Ward, they brought in a bunch of additions, right? You got Van Jefferson, Tyler Lockett as veteran guys on the outside with Calvin Ridley. The front five I really do like with guys like Peter Skoronski and J.C. Latham as of right now. But Cam Ward, bottom line, you're expecting to just work into, hopefully he can win 5 to 6 games this year. Anything more than that is going to be exceeding expectation. But I think they're on the right track with Cam. I really do like Cam Ward. He was by far my QB1 in this last class here in 2025. So I think moving forward for them, I think 5 to 6 games, winning that would be absolutely fine for them this year. And also, I would like to see them lean on guys like Tony Pollard, lean on Tajay Spears. Do not put everything on Cam Ward. As talented as he is, I really do think he can be a guy that really evolves into a top 10 quarterback in the future in the NFL. But lean on this ground before you ever ask Cam Ward to drop back 35 plus times a game and compete with the Texans or the Jaguars of the AFC South.
Ryan, we got about 2 minutes to go. Let's go to Indianapolis. Look, the roster at Indy might be the best in the division, 1 to 53. The problem is quarterback, which is obviously a gigantic problem. What do you think between Daniel Jones and Anthony Richardson?
Bottom line, Ryan, I think it's a mess. I really do. If you have 2 quarterbacks, you don't have 1. And I think everyone is expecting Anthony. We've talked about it as far as what he was out of Florida, just immensely talented, but more of a thrower than a quarterback and much more of an athlete right now than a bona fide superstar stud quarterback at the NFL level. But the talent is obviously there. But right now it does look like Daniel Jones, obviously been around the league a long time in a multitude of spots, specifically last year going from New York. And he's going to have the chance to be QB1 for this roster. But the group is, they return most of their guys on offense, whether it's along the offensive line or the skilled players. You still got Jonathan Taylor in the backfield. You bring in a Khalil Herbert that can do some different things for you. They draft one of my favorite day 3 running backs in DJ Giddens out of Kansas State, another big physical back. So on offense, they got a lot of pieces, and they're expecting A.D. Mitchell, former second rounder out of Texas last year, to take a step as well. So on offense, I like the pieces. I like the front five. I like the running back. But if you don't have a quarterback, it's really going to limit you overall. But then on defense for the Colts, I still love Laitu Latu. I think he's going to take a step moving into year 2. They draft J.C. Tumalau out of Ohio State. He's going to be a really nice piece on the edge as well. And then on the back end, I still think I have some concerns there with Nick Crosses of the world, Jalen Jones, Kenny Moore at nickel. I think is a nice veteran piece. But I think this Colts roster overall, Ryan, is maybe getting a little bit more attention than it should, because I do think there's some more holes specifically in that secondary than there needs to be right now. I don't think they fulfilled them nicely as they should for GM Chris Ballard.
Interesting. All right, Ryan, and then leave us with this. Houston, are they the favorites in your opinion?
Yeah, I do. And I know that's probably the boring answer. I will say this, losing Laramie Tunsil is going to be huge. Cam Robinson, I know everybody out there knows all about Cam Robinson. He had some good years in Jacksonville, but he's not 25 anymore. He's not 30 anymore. And protecting C.J. Stroud's blind side is going to be awfully tough. And they also have a new piece and Laken Tomlinson at left guard as well. So they got pieces. The skilled players, Tank Dell, wish him the best of health moving forward. But they drafted Jaden Higgins in the second round. They drafted his teammate in Jalen Noel. They got a lot of pieces there. They're going to score some points, but it's on defense. It's Will Anderson. Are you going to be that guy that potentially is in the Defensive Player of the Year conversation this year? C.J. Gardner-Johnson coming over, right, from Philadelphia, playing all three levels, that instinctive pop type of player that DeMeco Ryans absolutely loves. So they are the favorite right now. I would say that. But I do not think there's a major gap in really the top three of this division with the Jaguars, Texans, and Colts, in my honest opinion.
Ryan Fowler, NFL and college football analyst. He's one of our favorites here on 1010XL. Ryan, I know you're busy. Appreciate the time. We'll talk again as the preseason approaches.
Absolutely. Thanks as always, Ryan.
In life, only the best things stand the test of time, like radio play-by-play.
I think it's bigger than it seems, and if you're one of these players or one of these coaches, it's the biggest thing in your life.
Your home for the most play-by-play is 1010XL.
Hey, Hicken here. I couldn't be any happier than to join the George Moore Chevrolet family. When I say family, I mean it. Visit their beautiful showroom today off Atlantic Boulevard. Find out exactly what I'm talking about. No pressure, just friendly help. And whether you want a car, a truck, SUV, electric, pre-owned, you name it, George Moore Chevrolet has it. And if you can't make it over to Atlantic Boulevard, no problem. MooreChevy.com is easy to navigate as any site you will try. It's never been more easy to use. George Moore Chevrolet. Together, let's drive.
Hey, Jacksonville, I'm sure by now you've seen our bright green GFL trucks and containers throughout the greater Jacksonville area. We are an industry leader in solid waste and would love the opportunity to earn your business. We are committed to customer service, reliability, and have unwavering focus on safety. Whether commercial or construction, let us haul your waste away. Call 904-760-5880 to get a quote today. GFL, green for life.
Right now, you may be running a little late, or feeling stressed, or overwhelmed, and you may be going a bit over the speed limit. So to help you relax, exhale. Ease up on the gas. You'll get there when you get there. Take a moment to just chill. This little break is brought to you by Target Zero and the Florida Department of Transportation.
Frank Frangie here for Coil Fencing. Jacksonville is full of memorable sports moments. Remember Hal Sutton when he famously said, "Be the right club today"? Well, that's what Coil Fencing delivers, the right fence today. And they've been delivering the right fencing for both commercial and residential properties for nearly 100 years. If you're in the market for a new fence, call Coil & Sons today at 904-356-4821 or visit coiljacks.com. That's COYLE Jacks.com.
1010XL is the home of Gator Nation and the Gator Bites podcast presented by Southeast Orthopedic Specialists. I'm Hacker, and we keep you connected with the University of Florida all year long. Get Gator Bites where you find podcasts.
As a Florida homeowner, you're no stranger to mosquito problems. And although it's tempting to use DIY methods to get rid of them, mosquitoes are relentless. That's why it's important to enlist the help of the mosquito experts at Florida Pest Control. At Florida Pest Control, we offer specialized treatment solutions that are effective against mosquito infestations and are committed to keeping our customers protected year-round. For your free quote, give us a call or visit flapest.com today. Florida Pest Control, your local mosquito control experts.
Hi folks, Jason Parker here with Performance Painting. Ever wonder what to do with leftover paint that you don't want? Here's a few options. Paint can be placed in the regular trash if it's dry. Simply stir in kitty litter to a thick consistency. Then wait a few days with the lid off till it dries. Also, if the paint is good, there's many charities or churches that would love to have it. If you'd like more tips or have a project, we'd love to help. Go to performance-painting.com. Performance Painting with Repair, protect, preserve.
Performance painting.
Life is just so busy this time of year. Between work, the kids' games, family vacations, I need a yard hero to free up my weekends.
You mean somebody who does mowing and trimming?
Yeah.
How about mosquito control?
Yeah.
What about irrigation and pet waste removal?
You do that too? You're my lawn hero.
Find your lawn hero at heroeslawncare.com. Heroes Lawn Care, because every lawn needs a hero.
Is your backyard ready for the big leagues? Pick it here for Surfside Pools. Serving Northeast Florida since 1977, they have the home field advantage. Family owned and operated, offering weekly pool service, equipment repairs, commercial maintenance, remodels, and new pool construction. Let Surfside Pools make your backyard dreams a reality. Are you ready to float happy? Visit SurfsidePools.net or call 904-246-2666. Surfside Pools and Spas, your hometown MVP.
License number CPC 044080.
What does the logo on the Pittsburgh Steelers helmet signify? The answer next.
When you file a claim with Southern Oak Insurance, we schedule one of our trusted vendors to work directly with you, which means a faster claim resolution. Find out more at southernoak.com.
Our family protecting yours. Southern Oak Insurance.
The logo on the Steelers helmet represents the steel industry. It's the only NFL team with the logo on just one side.
Southern Oak Insurance. Our family protecting yours.
Hey, Hickett here. Think you got the ugliest garage floor on the First Coast? Your garage a crack-stained hot mess? Hold on to your squeegee. Checkmate Coatings is hunting for the worst garage floor out there. And the winner gets a free garage coating makeover. Whoa! Take 10 seconds. Snap a pic of that garage eyesore. Register at checkmatecoatings.com/contests for a chance to win a free floor coating. It's easy. Just snap a quick pic and enter for a chance to win at checkmatecoatings.com/contest. Checkmate Coatings, your floor's missing piece.
Hi, I'm Sean Monahan from Monahan Jewelers in Atlantic Beach. Since 1977, we've been Jacksonville's local family jeweler with a beautiful selection of fine jewelry and certified diamonds. But we're also Jacksonville's leading buyer of gold, silver, and diamonds from the public. Gold's recently hit an all-time high at over $3,000 per ounce. Pay bills, buy something fun. Now is the time to sell your gold for cash and get top dollar, or trade it in for a new piece and get even more at Monahan Jewelers in Atlantic Beach.
1010XL is presented by Farah and Farah, exclusive injury law firm of the Jacksonville Jaguars. Protecting you and your family. Call 396-5555. Jacksonville. Hacker After Dark on 1010XL.
Yes, it is. Glad to be back with you. Hacker After Dark till 10 o'clock right here on 1010XL and 92.5 FM. More NFL talk, more Jaguar talk comes up in just a moment. Boy, Denmark, you don't realize how long and how many things can transpire in 10 days. That was the last time I was with you on Friday, July 11th. I guess since that moment, let's just kind of take stock of everything that's transpired. I see my buddy Tom McManus is back in a weekday capacity here on 1010XL. Good for Tommy. Loved our time together on the Rumble back in the day, and now you can hear Tommy every day 2 to 4 alongside Taylor Dahl and Lauren Brooks on Helmets and Heels. So I was thrilled to see Tommy get back on a daily lineup. Obviously, we've had him on a bunch. He was on Jaguars today and will continue to be, but now you get to hear Tommy every day. Looking forward to seeing him down at practice this week. Shane Gillis in the ESPY Awards. Denmark, I know you're the stand-up comedian guy. You're like in that world. You know a lot more about that and about those individual artists than I do. I thought a lot of the stuff he said was funny. I knew when he was doing it last week that he was going to offend some people because you can't do anything anymore without offending somebody. But a couple of the bits that he did I thought were absolutely hilarious. But I right when he did it, I'm like, that's funny, but you know they're going to come out of the woodwork after this guy. What did you make of his performance? He's the only thing from the ESPYs that night that I actually watched. I couldn't care less about the actual award show, but I did enjoy the opening monologue.
Yeah, I did the opening monologue, and then he had a funny tush push skit. I don't know if you saw that or not.
I did not, no.
You should watch that on YouTube. It's about 3 minutes. It's pretty good. And they interviewed Sirianni for a minute after. That was pretty good as well. But that was the only thing I watched. Yeah, it was funny. The crowd sucked. They were all scared to laugh, which typical. But yeah, I mean, I just watched them all out for 10 minutes. I thought that was pretty good. And that was that. I mean, it gave me something to watch that night.
I mean, ESPN knew what he was going to do, right? You don't hire Shane Gillis without knowing his shtick, right? So, I mean, it's obvious that they were okay with putting a guy like that on that stage with a hot mic on a live setting.
Well, and he didn't write a lot of those jokes. He had people, like, it was like 4 or 5 people that wrote those jokes for him.
Mm-hmm.
So, I mean, I'm sure he, like, input some, but a lot of those jokes were from the people that, you know, that work for the ESPYs.
Yeah, no, I like I said, I thought a couple of the things he said were absolutely hilarious. But there you go. There was that. I watched that when I was on vacation. Even though I was on vacation, I still had sports on like all the time. I'll tell you how sick I am. I was listening to you and RJ on Open Gym a couple of nights when I was on vacation at the Lazy River in Central Florida. I'm such a company man.
Yeah, something's wrong with you.
That I had it on the 1010XL live stream. No, I was supporting RJ. RJ did a good job. In fact, RJ, you're going on vacation Thursday and Friday. RJ will be in with me, and I'll tell him then that I thought he did a really good job last week. The Coldplay concert. Holy moly, man. That CEO, you know, you buy these tickets and you're going out for a warm night of passion, I guess, with a young lady that's not your wife, and they put you on the Jumbotron. You know, if he would have not, like, ducked and made this whole scene, it probably would have been bad, but the life of its own that thing has taken on in the world of AI, in the world of memes or whatever, GIFs or whatever they're called, it's insane now. There are cameras everywhere. You just have to understand that. And for the life of me, and maybe I just don't know this world because I'm not a gazillionaire that's a CEO of a million, if not $1 billion company. But if you're having an extramarital affair, does it seem very smart to be doing that with somebody that's not your wife at a Coldplay concert in a suite in front of thousands of people? Just doesn't seem like a very smart thing to me. Obviously, it's cost him his job, but my goodness, man, the just craziness that came from that and all the sports things you see now and movie things you see now, just absolutely wild.
The funniest one is with Doug Peterson and Press Taylor.
Doug Peterson and Press Taylor was a good one. Doug Peterson and Press Taylor was a very, very good one. Boy, to go from that note to just a horribly sad note, man, did you see the actor that played Theo Huxtable on The Cosby Show passed away in Costa Rica. That was brutal, man. I loved The Cosby Show growing up. And the actor that played Theo was one of my favorites. I mean, I was really young when The Cosby Show aired, but my gracious, only 54 years old, an accidental drowning on vacation in Costa Rica. That was a horrible, horrible thing. Prayers to go out to his family and friends. You just absolutely hate to see something like that. I mean, that should go without saying, but that was kind of a bummer here on a Monday. And then to bring it back to our world, which is the world of sports, which is why we are here every night on Hacker After Dark. Will Levis out for the year for the Tennessee Titans with a shoulder injury. I'm going to talk with Easton Freeze, A2ZSports.com. He's based up in Nashville. That conversation comes up at the bottom of the 9 o'clock hour. Really odd timing for Will Levis. I mean, he had shoulder issues last year. He could have done this the entire offseason, right? I mean, he had 6 months. He knew Cam Ward got drafted 3 months ago. But to announce it on the eve of training camp, obviously he's not going to play because of the surgery. He was probably not going to play anyway because Cam Ward is the starting quarterback in Nashville. But if I'm Will Levis and I want my football career to continue and I have any issue with my shoulder, which he obviously does, I don't fault him for it necessarily. If the team's going to draft the number one quarterback, say it's his job, not really even give you the time of day anymore, well, all right. I know I'm going to move on in 2026 to another organization. I want to be as 100% as I can be when I have another opportunity to play for a different NFL team. So I'm going to get my shoulder cleaned out now, miss the 25 season, a season I wasn't going to play in anyway, and be as healthy as I possibly can be going into 2026. Where does that leave Tennessee? Well, if Cam Ward got hurt, they were always going to struggle this year. But my gracious, man, I mean, they have very, very little now behind Cam Ward. Will they go out and sign a veteran? Perhaps. They probably need to do something because I think Brandon Allen is their backup quarterback, and that's basically all they have now that Will Levis is going to miss the entire year opting for that shoulder surgery. Again, Easton Freeze, A2ZSports.com up in Nashville. He joins me coming up at the bottom of the 9 o'clock hour. Coming up next, Tyler Brook. Tyler has been with Bleacher Report. He's been with the 33rd team. He's actually starting his own brand new venture today called Best Available on the YouTube platform and on the social media platform. We'll tell you what it's about. We'll tell you what they're going to cover. But we're going to cover the Jaguars, the Colts. Tyler lives in Indianapolis, so we'll talk Indianapolis. We'll talk AFC South, but obviously focusing on what's going to transpire here in Jacksonville as training camp gets underway Wednesday morning down at the Miller Electric Center. Let's continue the Jaguar conversation. Tyler Brook joins me next right here on Hacker After Dark.
When you wish upon a star, sometimes dreams come true. 1010XL.
Bueller.
Stay cooler with Bueller.
Hey, buddy. Why so glum?
Stinky ice cubes, Jason. It's all downhill from here.
What?
The tap water at my place smells kind of funky. Funky tap water makes funky ice cubes. I meet a nice girl, invite her back to my place for a cocktail, and blow my whole romantic gesture with a mojito that smells like dog's feet.
Wait, I can totally make you way cooler.
I'm not taking your charity ice cubes, Jason. I have my pride.
Your pride is safe. Our plumbers can be at your house the day you call and install a whole home water purification system. Water tastes better, dishes come out cleaner, even your hair feels better after you shower.
Ooh, the ladies love a man with soft hair, don't they, Jason?
Life moves pretty fast. If you spend every day worried about the water in your own home, you could miss it.
Stay cooler with Bueller.
Visit BuellerAir.com.
You know that thing called AI? Supposed to make the workplace super efficient? Well, there's something better. DI, Delicious Intelligence. It's tech that helps make work efficient and yummy. Leading the DI revolution, EasyCater, a workplace food platform that connects you to tons of favorite restaurants with tools to save time and stay on budget. Need tacos for $20? Falafel for $40? A variety of vegan breakfast sandwiches? Now that's a tasty prompt. Join the DI revolution. Order now at EasyCater.com.
1010XL is excited to support an evening of all-star fun as comedian David Spade joins MC and Gator basketball great Patrick Young to induct Olympic swimmers Nancy Hogshead and Ryan Murphy, golf legend Jim Furyk, and the iconic Lizard King into the Sawyer Sports Foundation's Jacksonville Sports Hall of Fame, presented by the Nimnick family of dealerships. Saturday, July 26th at the Community First Igloo. For single ticket and table sponsorship, go to JacksonvilleIceman.com.
The flagship station of the Jaguars. WJXL AM Jacksonville Beach. WJXL FM Jacksonville Beach.
Yo, this is Tony from Tony D's. Are you looking for a great slice of pizza? Well, we have about 12 varieties. Most places won't have slices of pizza after lunch. At Tony D's, you can get a slice all day. It's always fresh at Tony D's Pizza. Bay Meadows and 295.
When you need a mechanic you can trust, call Sam, Harry, or Joe at AA Automotive on Richard Street. From oil changes to complex engine repairs, AA Automotive promises expert service and honest pricing from a local family biz. AA Automotive on Richard Street.
Brian and Angela Wall here with Window World. Hurricanes happen in Florida. That's not news. But what happens even more often than hurricanes are home break-ins. And if security is important to you, you might want to look into hurricane-rated impact windows.
What you may not know is that hurricane-rated impact windows not only help protect your home in case of a hurricane, but they also offer another level of security for your home.
Have you seen those videos on YouTube that show people trying to break through an impact window? A thief is way too lazy to spend his energy trying to break through one of our impact windows. That's why he doesn't have a real job like you. He'd rather break your non-impact window while you're at work. Window World has high-quality, very affordable hurricane-rated impact windows to help protect your home from hurricanes and from lazy thieves.
Call us today at 904-443-7001. Get a free estimate and see for yourself. You save energy, get more security, and the windows add value to your home. With all Window World windows, you get the best guarantee in the window replacement business.
Window World,
simply the best for less.
And thank you for your business.
Brackish Vodka, the spirit of the sportsman and proud partner of the Jaguars, wants to make your flight in and out of Jax a fun one. Stop by Vino Volo in the airport and enjoy 2 signature brackish cocktails. Vino Volo has amazing food and cocktails before your flight. Brackish Vodka is the first clean craft vodka and made right here in Jacksonville, Florida. Brackish Vodka for whatever your sport is. If your sport is flying, your vodka is Brackish, proud partner of the Jaguars.
Mike Dempsey, and now's the time to get your roof hurricane ready with Apex Roofing and Contracting of Jax Beach. Look, our rainy season is no joke, and if your roof's got damage, leaks, or it's just plain worn out, don't wait. Apex is local, dependable, and will show up on time using only premium materials with ironclad warranties. No shortcuts, no stress, just quality work you can trust. Skip the storm season scramble. Reach for the peak with Apex Roofing and Contracting in Jax Beach or visit apexroofingfl.com.
At Tucker Equipment Rental in Neptune Beach, you just don't rent quality machines, you rent quality customer service. Hi, I'm Kevin.
And I'm Dave. Tucker Equipment Rental has been supplying Jacksonville with equipment and event rental for over 50 years.
From commercial and homeowner projects, we've got what you need: lifts, dirt equipment, and landscape equipment.
And don't forget about event rentals, from festivals to weddings to backyard barbecues.
Local, knowledgeable, and always ready to help.
Tucker Equipment Rentals.
You need it, we've got it, come see us.
The playoff-bound Jacksonville Jumbo Shrimp are in full swing at the newly renovated VyStar Ballpark. Your home for affordable family fun. Tickets start at just $5. Fireworks after every Friday home game, and kids round the bases after Sunday games. Log on to jackshrimp.com for tickets and details. Jumbo Shrimp Baseball, affordable, family fun.
1010XL is presented by Farah and Farah, exclusive injury law firm of the Jacksonville Jaguars. Protecting you and your family. Call 396-5555. Jacksonville. Now, another great guest on the Checkmate Coatings phone line. Hello. Your floor's missing piece.
10XL and 92.5 FM in the city of Jacksonville, your home for the Jacksonville Jaguars, and we are glad you are with us. Training camp, Miller Electric Center, begins Wednesday morning here in Jacksonville. What was an absolutely wild last 6 months, a new head coach, a new general manager, the arrival of Travis Hunter, and dozens of new players for the 2025 Jaguar season finally culminates with the beginning of training camp. Let's talk about the Jaguars. Let's look at the AFC South as well with Tyler Brook. Tyler's covered the NFL for years, and Tyler actually has an exciting new venture that he has started literally at the beginning of this week. Tyler, how you doing?
I'm doing great. Thanks so much for having me on. I'm an indie local guy, so I've watched the Jaguars my entire life, it feels like. And I won't lie. I think this is the most excited I've been personally for a Jaguar season.
Well, let's certainly get into it. But before we do that, you've covered the NFL for many different outlets for years, and you have just started your own deal, if you will. I want you to explain to people in Jacksonville what launched for you earlier today.
Yeah, appreciate that. So we are launching Best Available. It is going to be a YouTube brand that's going to be covering all manner of stories around the NFL and college football. Starting this week, we're going to be talking about a few rookie wide receivers around the league that are flying under the radar, could be the next Puka Nacua. You know, obviously it's going to be impossible for someone to be exactly like Puka Nacua, given how dominant he was early on. So we're not going to be talking about the Travis Hunters or the Matthew Goldens or anyone like that, but there's a few guys around the league I think people should know about, especially as you're getting ready for your fantasy drafts.
Well, we certainly will talk more about that. Best available with Tyler Brook. We'll tell you where you can find that coming up here in just a little bit. You mentioned Travis Hunter, Tyler. Let's begin there. You and I haven't spoke since Travis Hunter was drafted here in Jacksonville, a massive trade up by James Gladstone. Personally, I'm going to be fascinated as camp opens up to see how they're using him in practice, particularly when the pads come on. What was your thought about what the Jaguars did in acquiring Travis Hunter?
I mean, a lot of people want to talk about how much they actually gave up for the player itself, but the more time I spent watching Travis Hunter and then just being around him at some press conferences, the more I just fell in love with the kid as much as the player. And I think he truly can be a franchise cornerstone because of those two boxes being checked. You know, I think that I'm very curious to see where they end up wanting to play him to start. But what I really appreciated when talking to him, he knows he wants to play both ways, but also understands he has to earn the right to play both ways, especially at the professional level, right? So he might need to start at one position. Personally, I think it'd be better off if he was playing something like wide receiver, learning with Trevor Lawrence and then going from there. So I'm blown away by the kid. I can't wait for training camp just to see, you know, how they're planning on utilizing him. But, you know, whatever plan they give for him, I think he's just going to be, you know, an extremely exciting player to watch.
Tyler Brook of Best Available with us here on 1010XL in Jacksonville. Tyler, the idea of Travis Hunter lining up with Brian Thomas Jr., I'm pretty high on De'Ami Brown based on what he did last year in the playoffs in Washington. And then you got guys like Etienne and Bigsby in the backfield. I mean, offensively, they got some skill on this roster.
Yeah, I think that combined with Liam Cohen as the head coaching hire is why I'm probably so high on the Jaguars this season. Now, like, I think the AFC South's going to be a little trickier than people are expecting, and we can get into that in a little bit. But I just think that offense with that many gadgets and Trevor Lawrence, who I still don't think gets enough credit for, you know, how talented of a quarterback he is. Everything's pointing to, you know, this being a really electric offense by the end of the year. Now, I think with a new head coach coming into place and all these new faces, there's going to be some growing pains, right? Like, that's just the nature of football at this level. Execution, you know, at the highest form is going to take some time, especially with so many young players. So, you know, Jaguars fans need to be a little bit patient with it. Maybe it doesn't even happen until the end of this year, but I think going forward, the future is extremely bright for that offense. And you're totally right. You know, the combination of Brian Thomas's explosiveness, deep threat, ability to play on the outside, and then Travis Hunter's, you know, elusiveness and body control, you know, likely in the slot, is just an unreal pairing for me with a franchise cornerstone quarterback like Trevor Lawrence.
You know, we saw what Liam Cohen did with Baker Mayfield last year in Tampa. Can lightning strike twice? The similarities are certainly there. Baker Mayfield was kind of let out to pasture by a lot of NFL media types, and obviously has had a resurgence of his career as a former #1 overall pick. What is your thought about what Liam Cohen could do with Trevor Lawrence here in Jacksonville?
Yeah, I think it's the best coaching situation Lawrence has had. And I think the way that they're going to run things is very exciting. But honestly, I think the thing I'm most excited about with Liam Cohen, and it's probably an underrated part of his game, is how creative he is with the run game. You know, using pre-snap motion to, you know, trick the eyes and, you know, use pulling blockers and mix up zone gap schemes. And I just think the way he layers on his plays as an architect is where you're going to see, I think, the backfield really come alive, which is going to make things that much easier for Trevor Lawrence.
A couple of more for Tyler Brook of Best Available. You know, Tyler, you've done this long enough where you obviously know, man, you could have the best quarterback, the best skill positions on planet Earth. None of it matters if you don't have an offensive line. And Jacksonville went out and got 6 new offensive linemen, 4 in pro free agency, 2 in the draft, including third-round pick Wyatt Milam. Certainly Anton Harrison and Walker Little and Ezra Cleveland will still be in the mix, but I'm fascinated to see what happens with some of those battles on the O-line in camp.
Yeah, I'm really glad you brought up the O-line, because that's, you know, something I wanted to get to about why, you know, I think the Jaguars can have a really good season. You know, you can always have a good starting 5, but if you don't have depth around that starting 5 on the offensive line, things can get ugly really quickly. having followed the Packers my whole life, you learn about O-lineman versatility and depth, and just, a lot of the successful franchises value that. And the fact that the Jaguars were so aggressive on that front does really excite me. Wyatt Milan was actually one of my favorite offensive line prospects. I don't think he is the strongest, but I think he's pretty fluid, and he makes up for his strength with excellent leverage. Like, that's a guy, for as big as he is, does an excellent job of getting low, getting underneath a defensive lineman's pads to control them. And then Patrick Mekari is that excellent kind of swing piece that you need. A lot of these teams need that kind of versatile plug-in starter guy, especially a veteran like Mekari. I imagine he's going to start on one of these guard spots, probably opposite of Cleveland. But, if a Harrison goes down or a Walker Little, he can fill in a tackle in a pinch. I'm very excited about that. And I honestly think Mekari is the perfect mentor to a guy like Milan, who I think can be one of those, long-term journeyman swing tackles in the league.
The stat about Mekari that always blows my mind is he's played at least 250 snaps at all 5 offensive line positions. I mean, that is absolutely wild. To the defensive side of the ball, it was a disaster last year. Let's just call it what it was. Now, Trayvon Walker is coming off back-to-back double-digit sack seasons. Hines Allen was probably a disappointment last year. He's looking to regain the 2023 form. But I love the fact that they're not messing around with Armstead anymore. They're going to put him back in his natural position. You got Mason Smith coming into year 2. They go out and get a guy like Emmanuel Ogbah. What is your thought on the Jags front 7? We'll get to the secondary in a moment.
Yeah, truthfully, I hope I don't make Jaguars fans too mad about this, because I was saying so many nice things about the offense earlier. It is a little bit of a concern. Devin Lloyd, I wasn't as high on coming out of college, and I'm not sure how I feel about him still. I'm not saying he's bad by any stretch, but, I'd like to see a little bit more with him given his physical traits coming into the league. I'm still waiting for him to turn that all around and, put that all together. But I love the pass rushers. I think Armstead on the interior can be interesting. I was very fascinated by Mason Smith coming out of college. But honestly, it might just be a work in progress. And I think that's fine in a year where you just hired a new head coach and general manager. You can't fix both sides of the ball right away. I think it's very clear that their priority was really get the offense going with an offensive-minded head coach like Liam Cohen and figure out the rest down the line. You're not going to be able to overhaul an entire roster in one offseason. So I imagine defense will be more of a priority next offseason. It's going to be a work in process. But, one of the fun parts about that for, a fan, you get to find these players that, have more opportunities on a defense that has some question marks, see who's going to step up. I actually think that's one of the beautiful parts about being a football fan. Sometimes you fall in love with these random players. Maybe it's a Ventrell Miller or a Chad Muma at linebacker, or maybe it's Caleb Ransaw, this slightly undersized safety taking over Darnell Savage's spot or playing in the slot. There's all these possibilities. Tamper your expectations on the defense, but, there's some players that could step up.
Tyler, I want to end with the look around the division. Final thought on the Jaguars. Travis Hunter, we've talked about him with Brian Thomas and with De'Ami Brown on offense. Do they have enough at corner to not put Hunter out there a bunch? I mean, you got Tyson Campbell, Jarian Jones. They go out and spend pretty decent money on Jordan Lewis from Dallas.
Yeah.
How do you feel about the secondary with or without Hunter to start?
Yeah, I think they can get by without Travis Hunter. But in my personal opinion, as much as I know fantasy people and even myself would be really fascinated about seeing Hunter in the slot with the Jaguars offense, I thought his best trait as a prospect was his instincts as a corner. Like, I think this guy has legit CB1 potential as a star in the league as a lockdown cornerback, even if he is a little undersized. That being said, yeah, I think you're right. Maybe they don't need to push him that way right away. Maybe let him get his feet wet on offense. The beautiful thing about him, his stamina is unreal. He can play 150 snaps in a game and you wouldn't even know. So I'm curious to see what they do. I would love to see him at corner, but I can understand why they would feel particular one way or the other about playing him on offense versus defense.
Final moments with Tyler Brook of Best Available. Again, we'll tell you about that new YouTube channel in just a moment. Tyler, some interesting news in Nashville today when Will Levis is going to have shoulder surgery that will end the 25 season before it even started. And you say, well, who cares? Well, if Cam Ward sprains an ankle right now, the Titans are in a lot of trouble without Will Levis. What was your reaction to that, and what do you think about Cam Ward his rookie season?
Yeah, so we can focus on Will Levis, the player himself. I actually totally get this move if that shoulder is still bothering him. This is a long-term play to get long-term healthy to try and find a job in 2026. I don't imagine he's around in Tennessee much longer. I understand he's on a rookie deal, but trades happen on these rookie contracts. And if Cam Ward, he's going to be the starter, right? So I can see where he's coming from. Seems like the team's supportive of it, so that's a good sign. The problem is, you hit the nail on the head. They have no quarterback depth. It's Brandon Allen and Tim Boyle behind Cam Ward now. So if something happens, oh boy, is that going to be a tough one to watch. But that being said, if Cam Ward is healthy, I actually do really like a lot of the moves the Titans made. Like the Jaguars, they really tried to add a lot of depth on the offensive line. They went and picked out a couple interesting receivers in the draft in Chimere Dike and Alec Ayumanner. Along with adding Van Jefferson, Tyler Lockett. And then that defensive front is pretty intimidating. I mean, you have one of the best defensive tackles in the league in Jeffrey Simmons. Tavondre Sweat, I thought, was a phenomenal rookie, kind of coming out of nowhere, even though he was a second-round pick. I just did not expect him to have that kind of impact. And, they added a few more pieces up front. I think that's a team that can really surprise people. I'm not saying they're a playoff team yet, but I think they're going to give the rest of the division a little bit of trouble. As for Levis, we'll see. My prediction is, has a whole year to get healthy, gets traded to a team with an opportunity to compete for a starting job next season.
Quickly to Indianapolis, 1 to 53, their roster, Tyler, might be the best in the South, certainly in the conversation. The big problem is a gigantic one, and that's the quarterback situation. Yeah. I mean, what happens between Jones and Richardson up there as camp opens?
Yeah, so, I'm sure a lot of your audience is Anthony Richardson fans after his time at Florida. And I was a huge fan of him coming out of the draft. And, the longer I sit on it, I keep trying to want to make it work. I want to believe. This is the training camp preseason, start of the regular season where he has to prove it, because Daniel Jones is a legitimate contender for that starting job. I know he lost a bit of the locker room after his decision to rest a play and admit it publicly last season. But at the same time, he's built like a tank. He has probably one of the strongest arms in the NFL, and those tools alone can make him a legitimate, thrilling quarterback. It's just, can he put the rest of it together? And, the ongoing shoulder injuries are quite worrisome. I want to believe in him, but I just feel like Daniel Jones is going to win this job. He's tough as nails. I know a lot of people respect him around the league. A lot of coaches respect him around the league. I think it's his job to lose for the time being, unless Richardson shows the work he put in this offseason, has matured a lot, and can go in. But it's unfortunate because I think the best version of Richardson makes this a pretty scary playoff team. I'm not sure what that upside is with Jones.
Tyler, final question. Is Houston your favorite in the division coming in?
It might be Jacksonville.
Wow.
Houston worries me this year, particularly because of that offensive line. I thought it was quite bad last year. And then to trade away your franchise cornerstone at left tackle, I understand he's getting on the older end. But, Cam Robinson, I'm not totally sold on him as a starting left tackle. I do like Ariante Ursary, the tackle they drafted, but this is probably the scariest situation I thought they could have brought him in. It seemed like a team that was way more excited about bringing in weapons for CJ Stroud than actually protecting him. Once again, I think that problem is going to show up in an ugly way again this year. I'm not trying to be too pessimistic, but I was just really confused about some of the moves that they made on that side of the ball. Defensively, DeMeco Ryans is a phenomenal coach, and that defense is absolutely loaded. I don't think there's going to be any concern about that defense, but there's only so many hits a quarterback can take, and that does actually quite worry me. So that's been my hot take this offseason. I'm actually not totally sold on Houston being the favorite, I'm sure they're the favorite, but winning the division. And I think it's going to be a much more competitive division than people think. I don't think there's a team that's truly abysmal. You could try to make an argument for Tennessee, but I think they're all actually pretty close in talent. I think it's actually going to be a really fun year in the AFC South.
Well, I got to tell you, I've had a ton of guys on this offseason. You're the first one that, dare I say, maybe thinks Jacksonville might be the slight favorite going in. Jaguar fans will love to hear that, which is an excellent segue for Tyler Brooks' brand new venture. Tell Jaguar fans here in Jacksonville about Best Available and where they can find your content.
Yeah, so you can find Best Available on YouTube. We'll be talking about who the next Puka Nacua is this week. If you're on Instagram and TikTok and Twitter, you can find that at Best Available YT. YT is in YouTube. We'll be posting tons of content there, reacting to breaking news as it happens. And biggest thing I'm asking for from all your listeners who ended up subscribing, watching, is feedback on what they want to hear, because that's kind of my biggest challenge now. I want to make sure the audience is enjoying what they're seeing. So I really appreciate the time, and thanks for letting me promote the new channel.
Hey, Tyler, really thank you for it, man. Know you're busy. Thank you for joining us on short notice, and we'll do it again really soon, pal.
Sounds great. Thank you.
Join the 1010XL Podcast Network.
Okay, excellent show, everyone.
Now you can find all your favorite 1010XL podcasts in your platform of choice.
Here's Linda Beaver.
The dog days of summer are here, and so are the hottest deals of the year. Whether you're hauling down the street, cruising on the beach, or just escaping the heat, we have the ride you're looking for and the wow you experience you deserve. Save big on select models with sizzling summer savings, low financing, and limited time bonus cash on all trades. So don't sweat it. Come beat the heat at Beaver Automotive, where the summer deals will wow you.
If your house feels like a Florida swamp and your thermostat's just throwing out suggestions, then it's time to call Duck Duck Air Conditioning.
They showed up fast, fixed it right, and even cleaned up after. My house is finally chilled, and so am I.
Whether your AC needs a quick fix, a full replacement, or just a little TLC, Duck Duck Air Conditioning has got you covered with fast and honest service. Call 904-862-6769 to get your cool back, or online at duckduckac.com. When your AC is stuck, call the Duck.
Here's your 1010XL First Coast Community Calendar.
Dreams Come True is the only local wish-granting organization giving dreams and special times to local children battling life-threatening illnesses. Find out how you can help at dreamscometrue.org.
City Rescue Mission provides life-changing support for the homeless. Find ways to get involved at crmjax.org.
Her Song is a nonprofit organization that breaks the cycle of human trafficking through survivor care, victim outreach, and education. Find out how you can help at hersong.org.
If you could benefit from a grief and loss support group, call Haven Hospice at 279-1677.
The 5-Star Veteran Center of Jacksonville is the place homeless veterans can go to recover, recharge, retrain, and reconnect. Learn more at 5starveterancenter.org.
If you're involved in a community event and you'd like us to help spread the word, find out how at 1010XL.com.
Hey, Googans, Hicken here, and I just want to once again give you this very simple reminder. Wear sunscreen. If you're outside a lot, bring the screen. Put some in your truck, on your boat, in your golf bag, whatever, wherever, just use it. Please. It's hot out there, and I just want you to protect yourself. I use it like it's cool because I think it is, but what's not cool, that's skin cancer. You don't want to deal with that. Go get yourself checked out. It could save your life. Go to beachesdermatology.com and schedule your appointment today. That's beachesdermatology.com.
Go inside your home team's locker room with Jags beat reporter Hayes Carline.
Check out my blog at 1010XL.com
so you can catch all the news and nuggets you need to know.
My blog is brought to you by Roland Reach Plumbing,
where quality and experience count.
Hey, Jacksonville, need a fence and ready to save? At Superior Fence and Rail, you'll lock in 5% off your fence project when you sign by the end of July. A limited time offer for savings and peace of mind this summer. Now accepting appointments for a free estimate. So act fast and get 5% off your entire fence project when you finalize by July 31st. Cannot be combined with other offers. New contracts only.
SuperiorFenceandRail.com.
I'm with Greg from Cycles of Jacksonville. In summertime, it really can stretch out most of the year because we love the warm temperatures here in the Sunshine State. Greg, give them an idea of what Honda has to offer.
They are all over the board. They've got Honda scooters, Honda motorcycles, we've got Honda boats, we've got Honda side-by-sides. Whatever you like, we've got it.
That means adventure is waiting.
That's right, and we're ready for you.
In the showroom, you can find all that Honda has to offer on Atlantic near Regency, or check out Cycles of Jacksonville's Facebook page.
Say goodbye to glasses and contacts with customized vision treatments at Bowden Eye & Associates. Hey, Hicken here. Dr. Bowden and his expert team bring you all the latest options like Evo implantable Collamer lenses, refractive lens exchange, or traditional LASIK. Tailored just for you. Imagine waking up to clear vision. No hassle, no fuss. You ready to see the difference? Call now or visit BowdenEye.com for a free screening. Bowden Eye & Associates, keeping the First Coast focused.
Instant Keys. You don't have to go to the dealer. Instant Keys comes to you.
Instant Keys saves the day if you have lost or broken keys. They can program new keys and remotes for nearly every make and model of vehicle at a fraction of the dealership cost. Fast, honest, and reliable locksmith service. Call 722-1111.
Instant Keys. Instant Keys. You don't have to go to the dealer. Instant Keys comes to you.
Life is about choices and the decisions you make. I'm David Robbins with Epstein & Robbins. If you're convicted of a DUI, you'll have to face severe consequences. Walking through the doors of the courthouse or appearing at a bond hearing can be extremely intimidating. Without the right lawyer, you're likely to make the wrong decision. Let our team help you make the right decisions in court. Epstein & Robbins, the right choice.
Epstein & Robbins, fighting for your rights since 1975.
Are you ready to play this summer? At the First Coast YMCA, we're committed to being your home for health and wellness and a place for friendly competition with team sports for adults and for kids. Basketball, volleyball, pickleball, flag football, soccer. The Y has something for everyone at any age. Discover all the benefits of YMCA membership and find your fun this summer at the Y. Registration for team sports and summer camps is open now. Visit fcymca.org.
1010XL is presented by Farah & Farah, exclusive injury law firm of the Jacksonville Jaguars. Protecting you and your family. Call 396-5555. Jacksonville. Hacker After Dark on 1010XL.
Yes, it is till 10 o'clock, as we are every night. Hacker After Dark, 1010XL, 92.5 FM. Thank you to Tyler Brook for joining me. Again, Best Available just launched today. You can check it out on the Best Available YouTube channel with Tyler Brook. Coming up in less than 15 minutes, Easton Freeze, A to Z Sports.com. Easton's based up there in Nashville. We'll talk about the Will Levis situation. Is it a story, a complete non-story? What is the story with Cam Ward coming into the year? And we'll talk a little Jaguars, a little AFC South, and more with Easton Freeze. That comes up in less than 15 minutes. You know, the Jaguars are on the practice field Wednesday morning for their first training camp practice, and we'll do a lot more of this tomorrow night on training camp eve. But if you look at position battles, just as an entire roster, I think running back potentially could be interesting, although I think a lot of those guys are going to play a lot, right? I mean, Bigsby, ETN, whatever order you want to put them in, Tootin, maybe even LaQuint Allen. I think all those guys are going to get some playing time. So I don't think they're truly battling for I mean, technically, yes. Are they battling for a starting spot? Sure. But whoever starts the game at running back doesn't necessarily mean they're going to finish the game with the most carries, I guess is my point. So, but that'll be something to follow. It'll be the running game and the running back position. Clearly the offensive line. Robert Hainsey's the new center. I'm going to talk with him on Wednesday after practice. Looking forward to that. That'll be my first training camp interview of the year, obviously. And with his arrival, Patrick McCarry's arrival, where does Fred Johnson and Chuma Edoga fit in? Where does Wyatt Milam and Jonah Monheim fit in? The 6 new offensive linemen that came in this offseason. When you add them to Walker Little and Anton Harrison and Ezra Cleveland. And then you got, Cole Van Lannens of the world and Luke Fortner and Javon Foster and a guy in Dennis Daly who we don't talk at all about was the starting left tackle for the Tennessee Titans for a couple of years. So the Jaguars have a lot of guys, and they're going to need to figure out that offensive line room pretty quick. We always talk about chemistry, right? Cohesiveness, knowing what the guy next to you is going to do. Well, that's going to be darn near impossible for this year's Jaguar line because the guys haven't played with each other. I mean, Walker Little and Ezra Cleveland, I guess, are what you got as far as cohesiveness and chemistry, and they have very little of it. You're going to have a brand new center. You're going to have a brand new right guard. We'll see what happens at right tackle. And for that matter, we'll see what happens at left tackle and left guard. I mean, is it Wyatt Milam versus Ezra Cleveland for the left guard spot? Is it Fred Johnson versus Walker Little for the left tackle spot? Is it Chuma Edoga versus Anton Harrison for the right tackle spot? There's a lot that needs to be figured out on that offensive line, so that's why I'm looking forward to talking with Robert Hainsey on Wednesday following training camp practice number 1. Defensively, safety, I think, is where you need to look. They got to figure that out. There's a lot of guys there. There's not enough roster spots. If you consider Daniel Thomas and Andrew Wingard in that room, Caleb Ransaw, Rayon Lane, Eric Murray, Antonio Johnson, Darnell Savage, too many guys, not enough roster spots. What about the interior D-line? Mason Smith, Eric Armstead. Where does Devon Hamilton fit in? Jordan Jefferson, Tyler Lacey. There's a lot to discuss. There's a lot to figure out, and we'll start getting some of those answers when training camp begins Wednesday morning down at the Miller Electric Center. Let's continue the Jaguar conversation. Let's branch out into the Titans and the rest of the AFC South, and let's talk about the Will Levis news today up in Nashville. Easton Freeze is NFL reporter for A2ZSports.com. Always enjoy getting Easton on Hacker After Dark, and he joins me next on a Monday evening here in Northeast Florida. It is training camp week, and we're glad you're with us. Hacker After Dark till 10 o'clock on 1010XL and on 92.5 FM.
1010XL takes you behind the microphone.
It's like got this gift, the blankness.
Dan Hicken and Jeff Prosser.
Look, I'm not trying to insult you.
The Drill.
Can you not judge me for like 2 seconds?
Mornings on 1010XL.
Hacker here, and with 4th of July in the rearview mirror now, all eyes are pointing towards Labor Day and football season. How would you like to drop some weight prior to football season's arrival? Well, Awaken 180 Weight Loss is your answer. Back in February of 2024, I weighed 317 pounds. In just a couple of short weeks, I was down almost 40 pounds thanks to the great folks of Awaken 180 Weight Loss. It's that quick. The coaching you get, the information you get, it's all perfect with Awaken 180 Weight Loss, and they can change your life very, very quickly. If it's time for you to lose weight like it was for me, do yourself a favor and go to awaken180weightloss.com. That's awaken180weightloss.com, or call 844-346-1800. Take it from me, a guy that failed in numerous diet programs over the years. I succeeded with Awaken 180 Weight Loss. If I can do it, you can do it. Awaken 180 Weight Loss.
Hi, this is Dave Barker. Want to grow your hair back?
IHRS, right here in Jacksonville, is the only hair transplant clinic in the Southeast to offer multi-unit hair grafting and the 45-minute PRP treatments. Grow your hair back. Call now for a free in-person evaluation. 904-777-IHRS, 904-777-4477, or visit hairforme.com.
Guys, your lawn's the home field. Now you can champion your St. Augustine grass. TopDressing.com just hit Jacksonville with a game-changing patented process. Aerate and transform your turf into a fairway-worthy masterpiece. Less water, shorter cuts, and the envy of every neighbor. No one else delivers a perfect 10 lawn like this. Visit TopDressing.com and dominate your block with the same process that golf courses use. Top dress your lawn like the pros with TopDressing.com.
Are you ready to reclaim your backyard? Serving Northeast Florida since 1977, Surfside Pools is the trusted name for expert pool design. Family owned and operated, they offer pool service, equipment repairs, commercial maintenance, remodels, and new pool construction. Let Surfside Pools transform your backyard into the oasis that you crave. Are you ready to float happy? Visit surfsidepools.net or call 246-2666. Surfside Pools and Spas, where luxury meets leisure.
License number CPC 044080.
ET here for Twin Peaks. And you know Thursday, July 24th is National Tequila Day, and at Twin Peaks, we know our tequila. And life's too short to celebrate National Tequila Day on Thursday without top shelf spirits. So come into Twin Peaks and order a tried and true classic like a house margarita or a still, or kick things up a notch with the Sin Caro Margarita, served over ice balls with a Tahim rim. The one and only Twin Peaks on Atlantic and Kernan. Eat, drinks, scenic views. Cheers.
Hey everybody, it's Mike Dempsey, and I only like to recommend the best, which is why I'm proud to say that I chose Pella Windows and Doors for my own home. And now's a great time to upgrade your home with 0% financing for 60 months. That's 5 years of interest-free payments on the best windows and doors in the business. Don't wait. Schedule a free consultation at PellaJacks.com or visit their showroom on Phillips Highway just north of Bay Meadows. For quality you can trust and savings you can't miss, that's Pella Windows and Doors.
Weekends were made for sports, and I'll tell you my take on this weekend's most interesting option. 1010XL's Media Mogul Hicken here. Watch for Musing with the Media Mogul on YouTube and Facebook. Made possible by Tucker Equipment Rentals in Neptune Beach.
How likely is it to live to be 100 years old? The answer coming up.
When you file a claim with Southern Oak Insurance, we schedule one of our trusted vendors to work directly with you, which means a faster claim resolution. Find out more at southernoak.com.
Our family protecting yours. Southern Oak Insurance.
In the United States, about 5% of women live to be 100, but only 1.8% of men.
Southern Oak Insurance. Our family protecting yours.
Hurricane season on the First Coast can lead you in the dark, so why not get a head start on storm season with a home generator system from American Electrical? They've sold and installed more generators in Jacksonville than any other company around, with scores of whole home generator installations throughout North Florida. That's right, American Electrical has been installing and repairing thousands of generators for over a decade in Duval. Keep your loved ones and property protected. Log on to American-Electrical.com and see how they can help you.
Hey, Hicken here. Think you got the ugliest garage floor on the First Coast? Your garage a crack-stained hot mess? Hold on to your squeegee. Checkmate Coatings is hunting for the worst garage floor out there. And the winner gets a free garage coating makeover. Whoa! Take 10 seconds. Snap a pic of that garage eyesore. Register at checkmatecoatings.com/contest for a chance to win a free floor coating. It's easy. Just snap a quick pic and enter for a chance to win at checkmatecoatings.com/contest. Checkmate Coatings, your floor's missing piece.
Hi, I'm Sean Monahan from Monahan Jewelers in Atlantic Beach. Since 1977, we've been Jacksonville's local family jeweler with a beautiful selection of fine jewelry and certified diamonds. But we're also Jacksonville's leading buyer of gold, silver, and diamonds from the public. Gold's recently hit an all-time high at over $3,000 per ounce. Pay bills, buy something fun. Now is the time to sell your gold for cash and get top dollar, or trade it in for a new piece and get even more at Monahan Jewelers in Atlantic Beach.
1010XL is presented by Farah and Farah, exclusive injury law firm of the Jacksonville Jaguars. Protecting you and your family. Call 396-5555. Jacksonville.
Now the cool down with Donovan Air, Electric and Plumbing, keeping Jack's cool since '87.
Back here on 1010XL and 92.5 FM in the city of Jacksonville, your home for the Jacksonville Jaguars, and we are glad you are with us. Training camp is here. Wednesday morning, the Jaguars will be out at the Miller Electric Center in what has been one of the wildest, craziest off seasons in Jaguar history, as now training camp is here and the 2025 season is right around the corner. Let's talk Jaguars. Let's talk AFC South as well. Easton Freeze, A to Z Sports.com, always kind enough to join us here on 1010XL. Easton, I hope your summer's going well, man. How are you?
I'm great, Ryan. Good to hear from you. Excited to finally be here at training camp. I enjoy the summer off. I do. And I have enjoyed some monotony, some domestic life, you know, having a routine on a weekly basis is nice for those of us in sports media. But I guess maybe I'm just not quite old enough to have the joy of training camp beaten out of me just yet, because I am jacked about getting back to some real football here in the next month or two.
Yeah, there's no doubt. You know, I used to be the guy that counted down the days to training camp. Now I enjoy my vacations a little more than I did when I was younger, but there's no doubt once we get to this time of the year, I'm pretty excited as well. And let's begin with Jacksonville. I mean, you and I spoke right around the draft or rookie mini camp, and at that point, you know, Travis Hunter was the big story, and he still is the big story. But Easton, in totality, you just look back at the last 6 months here in Jacksonville, man, it's been quite the offseason.
No, absolutely. I mean, from the dramatics in the draft to the way that things shook out before that with the whole coaching search and the GM retaining and then just kidding, firing and rehiring and
It's been a dramatic one for the Jaguars, but I'm curious to hear your thoughts on this, dude. Does the average Jaguars fan have more optimism going into this season than maybe recent years past, or are folks in kind of a I'll believe it when I see it situation with this team?
I think there's optimism because it's different. I mean, if there's one thing you could classify this Jaguar offseason as, it's been different than years past. And anything different is good for a team that's been a bottom dweller in the National Football League for really as long as the Jaguars have. And Easton, I think the idea of Travis Hunter with Brian Thomas Jr. and De'Ami Brown, you sprinkle in, Travis Etienne, Tank Bigsby, Brenton Strange, and obviously Trevor Lawrence. I think there's some reason for excitement, particularly on the offensive side of the ball.
I think so too. I think your excitement level for the Jaguars this year is really a Rorschach test for what you think about Trevor Lawrence. That's what it tends to boil down to at this point. I think that, folks generally are pretty bullish on what this new coaching staff can do. And Liam Cohen, we only saw it for 1 year in Tampa Bay, but what he did with that team from a schematic standpoint, I think is both exciting and a pretty good fit for what this Jacksonville team is built to be able to do. I'm somebody that has maintained that Trevor Lawrence is better than a lot of folks believe. And for that reason, when I now see him paired with Liam Cohen, who I think is really sharp football mind, and I'm not sure I could be any more bullish on the tandem of receivers that he's going to have at his disposal now with the addition of Travis Hunter and the breakout of BTJ last year. I think if nothing else, I have real questions about the tight end room. I have some real questions about the offensive line. And I am not bullish on the running back situation. I'll believe it when I see it with the veterans and the rookie in that room. But the passing game, I think, is going to be a real step up. And I think we're set to see the best of Trevor Lawrence this year. And I think that Liam Cohen and the tandem of receivers he has is going to allow him to really shine through in a way that we've not seen, but in spurts so far. And so I don't know. I think that alone is a reason for optimism. And, defense is one of those things that is trickier to track year to year. Sometimes defenses get a lot better or a lot worse kind of randomly. It's not nearly as sticky, the performance of defense year to year, as the performance of offense year to year. So sometimes, you get surprised even by the same or similar group of guys. So I wouldn't be surprised one bit if the Jacksonville Jaguars are a frisky team this year. I wouldn't be surprised one bit if, they find themselves in the playoff race at one point. I think it all depends on how quickly all the newness can gel, right? And we've seen even situations that end up panning out and working, with a new coach or a new GM or a new quarterback or new weapons or whatever is new about your team. Sometimes that newness eventually works, but it takes a little longer than folks were hoping it would, or, maybe willing to admit that it probably would at the beginning. So I am simultaneously bullish on the Jaguars, and also trying to remind myself that there's a chance that it's kind of a clunky start, especially with a new coaching staff. You never quite know how that's going to go, and they don't know what they don't know until they kind of learn in this trial by fire. So while it might start out a little bit clunky, I am excited about what this group can do together.
Easton Freeze, A2ZSports.com, with us here on 1010XL in Jacksonville. Easton, you brought up the word new, and that's exactly right. Of the 90 guys that are going to be at camp on Wednesday here in Jacksonville, upwards of 50 to 55 of them were not even here in January when the season ended. I mean, training camp is always vitally important. I'm not breaking any news there, but when you have this many new guys, rookies, veteran free agents, undrafted free agents, you add them all in, man, they got to build chemistry and cohesiveness pretty quick.
They do, and I wish there was an easy answer as to how best to go about that. Every year in training camp, folks like me go to in my case, the Titans facility, but facilities across the league, and try to ask what is ultimately that question in as many different ways possible, to see if we could glean some nugget of truth, some revelatory bit of information from these guys about how you establish chemistry quickly. And there isn't ever, I'm yet to hear a really fantastic answer on it besides just time and reps, because I think it really is as simple and complex in a way as time and reps, and why certain things gel faster than others, why certain guys get up to speed faster than others. I'm not sure there's a hard and fast explanation for it. And if there is, I know we in the media, we as fans don't fully understand it sometimes. And the truth of the matter is the players and the coaches don't understand it sometimes. It's just kind of the way that it is. And it is a lot of complex things in play. It's like relationships that we all have in everyday life, with work, with friends and family. Sometimes things really work and you really hit it off. And sometimes relationships take time to find common ground, to build up to a certain level. And so that is the biggest question for me. And with any new team like this, is how quickly can certain guys get up to speed? I think if I am confident about one element of this above everything else, it's that the best route for teams that are trying to establish so many new relationships, so many new connections all at once, I think the best thing they can do, honestly, is to really lean on the couple of things that you're already sure about, right? And while Trevor Lawrence didn't actually get a full season last year to establish a first year's worth of games with Brian Thomas Jr., their connection is pretty evident to me, and Brian Thomas Jr.'s ability is, I think, very evident to everybody. And so I think leaning on what's already established in that department will be very valuable. I think leaning on guys who may be kind of newer in their roles, but not new to the team, like Brenton Strange, like some of the veterans in the running back room. I think leaning on some of the veterans on the offensive line and the defense, which there's a lot of turnover, but there are still some foundational pieces on that side of the ball, leaning on Josh Hines Allen. These are the guys that are the pillars of your team, and starting from kind of square one in a way, and doing what you can do well, because those guys already know what they're doing, and going from there, I think, is the best route to take. I think teams can stumble over themselves sometimes when they lose sight of starting with what you already know and building from there, instead of trying to reinvent the wheel a little bit, especially when it comes to like offensive scheme. And we're going to get this guy involved this way, this guy involved this way. And trying to do 9 different new things at once instead of focusing on the one thing that you do well already can make it a longer process than it needs to be.
Couple more for Easton Freeze of A2ZSports.com. Easton, let's look around the division. As you said, you're based in Nashville. The Titans report to camp this week as well. I don't know how newsworthy it is, but Will Levis opting for shoulder surgery will miss the season. I guess it's not newsworthy if Cam Ward is healthy. If Cam Ward is not healthy, the Titans have some issues there now, correct?
Well, I don't know about that. So you ask, I'm not sure how newsworthy it is. I'm not sure how newsworthy it should be, but I do know how newsworthy it is, and that is pretty newsworthy. Maybe that's just a symptom of us being so starved for interesting things. But in terms of a storyline, this morning it has caused a lot of chaos, and it's not even noon when we're recording this, my time, Central Time, but it feels like I have had a full day already, because it's a big topic. And so a couple of things. You kind of alluded to the fact that it's not an issue or really a change at all for the Titans as long as Cam Ward is healthy. You're right about that. I've already seen some people that are on a national stage and frankly should know better online alluding to the fact that, well, that makes Cam the surefire starter. Brother, Cam was the surefire starter the minute they turned in his card. They haven't even pretended. Like, some teams, it's obvious that, hey, the first overall pick, he's going to be your starter. But they still do the Jaguars, right? The song and dance when there was the quarterback competition for Trevor Lawrence his rookie year, when everybody knew what the outcome was going to be. Titans didn't even do that. Cam Ward was getting better than 2-to-1 reps throughout OTAs, throughout mandatory minicamp. He was already getting the full starter treatment, so they weren't even pretending like that this wasn't how this was going to be. As for whether or not their backup situation is difficult now, so Will Levis would have been the backup for this team if they hadn't found a trade partner this next month and a half. Like, I think that was something they were going to actively, aggressively pursue. The Levis camp wanted to be traded. The Titans were wanting to move him. I think there was a decent chance that opportunity presented itself, but now that is not an availability to them. But if he had been on the team and they hadn't traded him, I do think he would be the backup. Now they have Brandon Allen in the room. I am not here to tell you that Brandon Allen is some fantastic backup. In fact, I would say he's not a good football player, but he seems to be the coaching staff's guy. They like him a lot for what he brings to them. And I'm somebody that actually, this can be an entire side conversation that I won't delve too deep into. My philosophy on backup quarterbacks is that they are probably the most underrated player on good teams and perhaps the most overrated player on bad teams. And I'm going to lump the rebuilding Titans in as a bad team, even though the trajectory seems to be pointing up. You're not at a point where your roster is a certified good one just yet. And until that time, I think you should be Cam Ward or bust. That everything you do should be predicated on Cam Ward and his development and him winning games, not some backup coming in and winning games. And if, God forbid, he were to go down for an extended period of time or for the season, I don't think having a guy that can come in and win a handful of games for you does anybody any good, except for maybe giving the coaching staff a better chance at not losing their jobs. But frankly, if a backup coming in and losing games because he's the backup is the reason why you do or don't get fired as coaching staff, that to me is a symptom of an organization that already doesn't have their heads screwed on right. And the decision makers making foolish decisions, because that shouldn't be what determines a coaching staff's, if Cam Ward goes down in week 2 and they lose a gajillion games because the backup stinks, that's not a good reason, in my opinion, to fire a coaching staff. So I don't think it does anybody any good to not to full blown tank or anything, but to win games that you don't need to win. So I'm actually pro having a bad backup on your team if you're a team like the Titans. And I'm not saying that Will Levis was going to be a good backup, but he was going to be, no doubt in my mind, better than what Brandon Allen is going to provide for this team. But I think Brandon Allen's their guy now. And, maybe somebody becomes available in the next 6 weeks that they swap him out for, but I don't think it's going to be anybody that's going to be a world changer in that way. So the Titans will have a bad backup this year, and that's okay.
Easton, as we say goodbye, the division as a whole, right? Now, camps are opening up all over the league this week. We won't hold you to it. In fact, we'll hopefully have you back on prior to week 1. But as we sit here in the latter stages of July as camps open, how do you assess the AFC South 1-4 right now?
Oh, man. The Texans have to be a favorite until proven otherwise by somebody. I see a lot of potential in the teams behind them, but the Texans are the best roster top to bottom, and they have the best, most proven quarterback for sure. Beyond them, it's tricky. If the Colts had any semblance of a quarterback situation, I'd be tempted to make the Colts number 2, but they decidedly do not. And so it's a quarterback league, man. I'll put them at 4 for now until we figure out what the heck's going on there. They may be a higher floor team than we think with Daniel Jones. Maybe they're a team that wins a really uninspiring 9 games with Daniel Jones, because it is a relatively fine roster around the quarterback position, and I do believe in that coaching staff, but their ceiling is non-existent. It's very Steelers-esque in that way. So I'll put the Texans 1, I'll put the Jaguars 2, the Titans 3, and the Colts 4. The Titans being at 3, certainly a lot of projection and hope involved in that, and so that could change in a hurry for good or for bad for the Titans, but I think having Cam Ward in the fold does a lot for them. And with the Jaguars, I think the experience that they have at quarterback, the wide receiver tandem that they have, I was not a huge fan of everything that they did this offseason. I'm not a huge fan of this roster top to bottom, but I do think the quarterback, wide receiver, head coach combination is good enough to make them number 2 right now. But to be honest with you, I think it's Texans and then the field, and anybody in the field is liable to make the leap this year, but I'll believe it when I see it.
Easton, tell the good folks here in Jacksonville, A2ZSports.com. I know if they ever want to check in on the enemy, you'll be at Titans camp pretty much every day, but what kind of coverage will you have in the coming days and weeks?
Yeah, ton of writing, ton of additional rambling like you've heard from me here today over at A2ZSports.com and A2Z Sports on YouTube, doing morning shows just about every day. Doing a lot of fun stuff this year on the YouTube channel, and doing a lot of writing over A2Z Sports. You can search Easton Freeze, you can search Titans, you'll find me there. Looking forward to the year, man. Looking forward to the AFC South, hopefully being a lot more entertaining a product this year than it was last.
Easton Freeze of A2ZSports.com. Easton, enjoy Titans camp. We'll talk again soon, pal.
Let's do it. Appreciate you having me.
And thank you to Easton Freeze, A2ZSports.com, for joining us tonight here on Hacker After Dark as we are on the doorstep of training camp. Really enjoy talking Jaguars and the rest of the AFC South with Easton. He's based up in Nashville. Again, A2ZSports.com. Interesting day in Nashville, right? Will Levis announces he's having shoulder surgery and will miss the entire 2025 season. Not that there was ever going to be a quarterback controversy between Cam Ward and Will Levis, but now Cam Ward, man, if he gets hurt, Titans have issues at the backup quarterback spot. There's absolutely no question about that. So we certainly spent some time on that. We also looked around the division as well with Tyler Brook of Best Available. Really appreciate Tyler joining us tonight. And, of course, back in hour number one, my buddy Ryan Fowler, who's covered the NFL for years. Always enjoy talking ball with Ryan as we're here. Training camp, right? The Veterans Report tomorrow. They will be on the field Wednesday morning at the Miller Electric Center. And, of course, we'll be down there with Hacker After Dark. Looking forward to bringing you some one-on-one conversations on Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday this week. And I believe all three of those first practices are open to the public. You have to go to Jaguars.com to secure your tickets. Well, that will just about do it, man. It has been a very, very busy Monday night edition of Hacker After Dark. Glad to be back with you. Enjoyed my vacation last week, but now kind of the grind. I think I got one day in August, and then I'm not taking another day off until Christmas. So pretty much back in the fold now. Vacation season is over, and football season has arrived with the arrival of training camp on Wednesday morning. We got a lot of people to thank for tonight's broadcast. Again, Easton Freeze, A2ZSports.com. Thank you to Tyler Brook of Best Available for talking Jaguars and AFC South with us. And then back in hour number one, my buddy Ryan Fowler, NFL analyst. Always enjoy talking ball with Ryan here on Hacker After Dark. Now, we will be back tomorrow night on a Tuesday. Might have a couple of surprises for you guys tomorrow night on Training Camp Eve, and we do hope that you join us then. Dylan Denmark was your producer.